So this is probably going to be one of the absolute coolest NFT games in 2022. If you like Monopoly, this is like Monopoly on steroids. So not only am I going to talk about the actual project itself, I'm going to literally show you why this is probably going to be one of the best on-chain NFT games that you can get into that it just launched. They just revealed actually today, and it's absolutely flying, and for a good reason. So with that said, this video, I'm going to briefly go over what it is. I'm going to go through some of their documents and just break it down, kind of simplify a few things, explain how the utility and the traits work versus Rarity. So I know a lot of people are going to have questions about that. So I'm going to explain how it actually works, which blocks are more valuable and why they're more valuable, because it's not just about Rarity on this one. And I'll explain that. All right. And then we're also going to actually look into the user interface, the UI of this project, because it's just freaking mind-blowing. It's absolutely beautiful. It's amazing. I jumped in, I minted my 2, and I'm playing around with it, and I think you should check this out. So let's jump into it. All right, so first off, this is Metroverse. Okay, I truly believe this is going to be one of the best NFT play-to-earn games in 2022 and beyond. They have an amazing roadmap, and they're going to be doing some awesome things. So if you go to metroverse.com, that's their official website. By the way, I'm not sponsored in any way. I just offered that I would do this video and explain a few things for the project, as well as anybody who's interested in NFT gaming in 2022. All right, so check this out. This is a land trading NFT strategy game, as it says right there on the website. Okay, you can collect, trade, stake your city blocks to earn MET, which is the utility token, and we'll talk about that as well. So here's the roadmap. I'm not going to go over this for you guys, but I mean, the website looks awesome. They have an amazing team, by the way. The team's always hanging out in the Discord. So what the heck is this project actually about? Let's go ahead and look at the summary really quick for the docs. All right. So Metroverse is a land trading NFT strategy game on Ethereum. Players strategically collect and trade city blocks to grow their economy and earn the MET utility token. So there's 10,000 unique city blocks on the Metroverse on the Ethereum blockchain. Each block is unique, populated with residential, commercial, industrial, and public buildings, and represented by an ERC 720. Moving on, NFT. Okay, so we get that it's an NFT. It's got it like it's a city block. It's got its own zones. Let's dive in. This is really cool. Check this out. Players can collect multiple city blocks and build out your neighborhoods. All right, so each block generates revenue in the form of MET tokens, the game's native currency. All right, and for the sake of simplicity, 1 MET equals 1 MET. I have no idea what it's going to be later on. The best thing about MET is it can be utilized within the game and the economy to improve their holdings and generate more MET. Okay, so this is literally Monopoly on crack. Okay. You'll get like the buildings, the different scores, you'll be able to generate more, and you're also trying to complete neighborhoods and increase the rankings. All right, so this is pretty cool. We're also going to have zone boosts where you can collect certain traits and they boost your total generations. It has a solid economical system inside of this game. Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to talk about rarity versus utility scores. Okay, so let's talk about the block score. All right, a block is the NFT. Okay, so down here you can see right here, the total block city score is calculated based on the scores of buildings within it. All right. The block score is always between 200 and 400, no less, no more. Okay. So in the Discord, a lot of people were asking, hey, which one's more valuable? The buildings with rarity or the buildings that have more MET production? And here's the reason they ask that. So a more rare piece can have a lower MET production, but it'll have a more rare building. All right, so which one do you value more? That depends. Okay, so most people are going to go for MET production, even though the buildings are rare. The buildings will give you a bonus based off of your neighborhood. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So the block score is calculated by adding up the residential, the commercial, and the industrial zones. All right. So for example, here we go. 51, 101, 148, which means 300. And you can see these by these little bars. So if you go to OpenSea, right, you go to OpenSea, Metroverse, you can go to the items, and then you can click on any random one, and you can actually see that score right here in the NFT. So the total score is 294, but you can see residential, commercial, industrial. Plus the art's freaking amazing. Okay, this is the just the pictures. We'll get into the really cool stuff. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through the zones just because people are going to ask which one's more valuable, the rarity or like the different zones, the buildings. How does this stuff work? All right, so zones. All of the zones except for the public zones give your total scoring. Okay, there is no scoring for public zones, public buildings. Okay, and that's because public buildings actually give a bonus to the rest of the zones. All right, so this is cool. For the residential, you've got houses, villas, mansions, residential skyscrapers. For commercial, you got shops, stores, services, stadiums, etc. Industrial, you have factories, warehouses, manufacturing, whatever, right? You also have like sports centers, like stadiums. You have football stadiums, soccer stadium, basketball stadiums. So all of these will play a major part in your neighborhood or in your city, okay? So zone scores, this is how you can calculate. Each building has its own score as well. And so by the time you add up all the buildings that are in that zone, you'll get a zone score, okay? Now your public buildings will add a modifier to the total of those scores. And by the way, don't forget, I'm going to show you inside the UI for all of this stuff. So this stuff, this is kind of the boring part. The exciting part is the actual like hands-on UI stuff. So hang on just a little bit longer. We're almost done. So this is where people are going to get a little confused. So you can produce more MET. Sometimes you might actually have less MET production depending on your zone score, your block score. All right. So rarer buildings have higher scores. So even though they might take up more of the actual zone itself, they'll still produce a decent amount of MET. And then this is where it talks about scores of residential, commercial, and industrial buildings and city blocks are influenced by special public zones. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is where the public zone buildings come into play. So buildings in the public zone simply boost scores of other zones. Boom, fair enough. So for example, if a block contains a library, which is a public building, it boosts the residential score by 6%. Okay, so that is how this stuff works. So you'll have a total score of the rest of the buildings outside of the public buildings, and then the public buildings add modifiers. Okay, so you want to look for these modifiers because not only do they affect the block, but they'll affect your neighborhood. Okay. Now, neighborhoods we'll talk about here in a second, but you can create pairs of threes in different sections of public buildings, and they can give you a major bonus in your MET production. This really quick, I'm not going to go too far into building scores. If you want to read about this, I mean, I'll leave a link below to these documents so you can jump in and kind of go over these. It's really straightforward, but hey, sometimes people like to hear it on video, right? So building scores, the higher the weight, the more common the building is. So more rare buildings have a lower weight on the total weight of the block. Okay, so for example, you can come down here and you can see Hoodville Towers tall is 20 weight, which means it's got a score of 20. Okay, so the lower the weight, the better the score. Boom, good for the block. Okay, and you can go through these. I'm not going to go through every single one. Let's talk about neighborhoods. Okay, this is where we start getting into the juicy stuff with MET production and all this cool stuff. And by the way, if you're liking this video, be sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe. All those good things help the video, especially on my brand new channel. Any of that stuff is appreciated. So neighborhood scores, this is where people want to jump in and say, hey, win Lambo, win whatever, right? This is where you start making your MET money. Okay, so, and by the way, MET has a really cool utility that they just announced in March, and I'm going to show you that. They've got a teaser trailer video that I'll be sharing with you guys, so it's pretty cool if you haven't seen it already. Okay, so the neighborhood, also referred to as a hood, is a collection of one or more city blocks owned and staked by a player. If you own just one city block in the Metroverse, your neighborhood is comprised of one block. If you own 10, your neighborhood is 10 blocks in size. Simply put, a hood is a group of blocks, a block is a group of buildings. All right, pretty straightforward. Okay, so a neighborhood, the score of a hood is simply the sum of the scores of blocks within it. Okay, so as we're back here looking at OpenSea, if you come over here, this block's total score is 294. So that would be a 294 block, and then you would add them all up. Okay, boom. So for example, right here, it says if the block's scores were 250, 300, and 350, you would be calculated as, boom, your total neighborhood score would be 900. A neighborhood can be any size with as little as one block. Users may acquire additional city blocks on OpenSea to grow their hoods to any size they wish. Okay, so there are guys that have insanely big neighborhoods. Okay, and they're making a lot of MET. They are going to be Metroverse real estate moguls. All right, let's talk about the boost, and then let's jump in and actually check this thing out. Okay, so neighborhood boost. This is what's really cool. All right, so if you have certain buildings on your blocks, you get a boost for your total met generation. So certain combinations of buildings existing anywhere in your neighborhood will boost the entire score of your neighborhood. Okay, so let's look at these. So safety is one of the boosts. Okay, if you have a hospital, a police station, and a fire station on any of your blocks, okay, you can actually have all three of those on one block and get the boost. So for example, one of my blocks, I actually have a hospital and a fire station on one block, but I don't have a police station, so I don't get the bonus. Sad face. On that same block, I also have a subway and a bus stop, but I don't have the taxi station. Another sad face. So if I found another block and got one with the police station and the taxi station, I would be sitting at a 10%, okay, 5% plus a 5%, a 10% bonus to my neighborhood. Okay, so what you want to do, and here's the value in these blocks. You can go for rare building scores, okay, and go for the rarity score that most NFT projects have, and people value the rarity of it. In this one, the rarity plays into the tokenomics of your neighborhood economy, but even more so is you want to find your neighborhood boosts, okay? You want to look for boosters. So what a lot of people will do is they'll go on to OpenSea, they come over here, they go into the Metroverse, they come down here, and what they do is they go straight to public buildings, and they're looking for boosters that they need, okay, right here. So they're going to go, okay, which one do I need? I need a police station. We'll see what the cheapest one is for a police station. I would come over here. So for me to get a police station, I would have to pay 1.15 ETH, if that's even still available. It is. So I could buy that and I would have a police station. Okay, so if you want to buy based off of rarity, you can use a tool called Rarity Sniffer. I'm sure in the future it'll actually be put up on Rarity tools, so it'll be a little bit more accurate and verified. But you can go to raritysniffer.com and find Metroverse right here. You might have to type it in up at the search bar. I'm just going to go ahead and click it right here though. Okay, so this is where you can actually look up your number. So say you have token ID, I believe I have 68 or 7862, I believe is one of mine. Okay, right here. So to Ethereum. So this shows you the score. You can actually come down here and you can look and see, okay, each and every single building. This is the total score. Okay, so that one's like 1,000, right? You can go through this and you can see all of the different rarities for the buildings and how they add up to the total score of the block. So if you're looking for rarity and you want to get that big rare building to boost your overall block and your neighborhood, you can go ahead and come to Rarity Sniffer, go rare to high or high to low, and then just leave that buy now. And you can just sit here and shop. You can see here's the rank of where they're at as far as in the project, and here's the total rarity score. This shows you the block number, and then this shows you the price. You can just go through here and you can find one that is the rarest in order, but within the cheapest price. So right here's number 44 for 2.95 Ethereum, which if you compare that to number 52, which is actually less rare technically, right, for 9.234. So, you know, maybe you could grab that one and say, hey, I got one of the rarest ones, and you can sell it for 5 Ethereum later or 10 Ethereum, all right? So that's how you can base it off of just rarity in general. But remember, the rarer it is, it's going to boost your overall neighborhood because of the rare building scores, okay? Remember, the building scores get boosted based off of the public buildings that are on the block, as well as the total boost from the neighborhood boost bonus packs. Okay, so if you have like that series, the set like safety, a hospital, a fire station, and a police station, you get those, you get a 5% boost of the neighborhood. Okay, so if you're looking for which is more valuable, you can go the rare route right here, and this is how you could find them. Okay, or you can go the public route. So find public buildings. You can come here and say, you know what, I needed a taxi station and a police station, so I want to see if there's a block that has both. I want to sort this from price low to high. So for me to buy a block that has both that I need on one block, it's going to cost me 2.5 ETH through this. If you come over here to OpenSea, you can actually do the same thing. You can just go to items, you can go to public buildings, and you can look for the ones that you would need. Okay, and then if you click the buy now, that will list them up and show you the one that currently, hopefully, okay, because OpenSea is not always accurate, you can buy it with the ones that you need, and then you can just stake it into your neighborhood and absolutely own your city. Let's check out neighborhood blocks. This is cool. So if you're at the website and you have some blocks, you log in, this is your hood, okay? So you can go to my hood. Here's your blocks. I have one staked in my hood and I have one in my wallet, just for an example. So if you have them staked, they'll show up here in my hood, okay? These ones are currently generating MET, okay? And I just put this in there so you can sit here and see my MET is actually currently just generating. It's just sitting there ticking away, and whenever I feel like it, I could hit claim and I could claim my MET, okay? But I'm just gonna let that sit. Right now I have 2 blocks owned, I have 1 block staked, and I am earning 310 MET per day, okay? Which you can see right here, the block score is also your MET earnings. Now in my wallet, okay, I don't have this one staked. This one's sitting right here. This actually is 320. So if I added this, if I staked it, this would become 630 per day, and this would just be cranking out MET. So essentially the rarity and the neighborhood scores with the buildings with public boosts. So boosters and rarity of the buildings, if you get a mixture of rare buildings with good boosters and a variety of public buildings amongst the rest of your neighborhood inside of your blocks, which I know that kind of sounds confusing. If you have a good diversification of buildings, your MET production is going to be absolutely insane. Why does MET production matter? Well, one, it's going to be the actual main token inside of the use of this game. They have yet to release everything that you'll be able to do, but in the future you'll be able to mint an entirely new collection, a essentially series 2, which I'm going to show you a video on that here in a bit. Okay, but if you think this is just pictures, check this out. If you click on this, it'll open up a page and it'll say loading block. You see this? So this right here, I can actually zoom in and I can like mouse over and I could just like pick different buildings. I could move around. I could like look at different stuff. Like check this out. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over here. I got like a little circus, right? So I can click on the circus. It could tell me the building score. So this right here, Circoverse, the score, remember we talked about the weight and the score, is 20. So this right here is giving me 20 points for my block. So that's pretty cool. But just the fact that I can like literally go around, check this out, and then there's a bunch of little people. The art is just absolutely amazing. You can sit here and explore your actual building and just enjoy it a little bit. All right, so it's kind of like a Monopoly piece, just a million times better. Okay, so I pulled up some stats. This project is taking off. All right, like this is exploding. So if you want to get in on one of the best NFT play to earn games in 2022, this is probably one you want to check out. This was reveal, like this was reveal. Okay, usually when a project reveals, it tanks off and dumps, right? But this just did the opposite. As soon as it revealed, people had the pieces that they wanted to play with. They knew what they needed, and so as soon as people started dumping them on the floor, they just started grabbing up like crazy. And there's actually 70% of the actual tokens currently are staked. So out of 10,000, there's 7,000 staked. It's absolutely flying off the shelves. If we go back to OpenSea, let's go ahead and see how many are for sale right now just on the floor. There's only 837, and the activity is just freaking bonkers. All right, so this right here, there's insane stuff that I'm excited for on this project. Last thing I want to show you is the video that they released for what's to come. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, but I'm just going to slide this and skip. So introducing, boom, Metroverse Blackout Collection. Look at this. All right, so it's like a collection like they've already got that's all colorful, but it's like a blackout version, and it is totally mintable with 25,000 MET. Okay, so if we'll go ahead and let this finish out. March 2022. So right now everybody's just buying everything they can to boost their productions because they want to get on that next collection. You will not be able to mint with Ethereum on that next project. It's all going to be tokenomics in-game, game pieces for game pieces. Okay, so if we come over here and we go, if I staked both of my pieces, right, so that would be 320 plus 310, so I would be at 630 MET per day. It would take me 40 days about to get MET. So if I got that enough MET to mint, which would actually be about March, So right now I'm sitting pretty good. I should be able to mint one of my blackouts. I'll actually probably buy some more Metro blocks so that I can get there faster, because hey, I want to mint more than just one. So Metroverse, definitely gonna be one of the best NFT play to earn games this year. I'm freaking pumped up for this project. They got an awesome roadmap. They got a great team, and it has been just a really cool ride the whole way. So hopefully now you understand a little bit more about the project. You're excited about it. You understand how to find the rarities, how to pick the traits, what you're looking for, and hopefully just excited as I am, because this is cool. This is really cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.